for everything that went wrong with the refs and how they didn't make a call, it is also on the Sixers as well, right? Because in that moment, I'll start off with Nick Nurse. In that moment, the second the Jalen Brunson shot goes in, that it bounces in, does the Looney Tune bounce, the second that shot goes in, you call a timeout. Now, I get the argument of you want to get a quick look and say, okay, let's see if we can inbound the ball here quickly. But once he saw that no player on the Sixers outside of Tyrese Maxey was even moving to set a screen, to get open, you have to call the timeout there to get your team organized. He never calls the timeout. Then, going back to them, Kyle Lowry forcing the ball into Tyrese Maxey. Nick Nurse is half calling a timeout, half not. You could even see it in the video. He pulls away from calling the timeout at all. Now, I completely understand the refs not calling that one. But that is on Nick Nurse. He has to fully commit to calling a timeout. He has to run on the court, or we've seen it in instances before where in all of sports actually, where the coach will basically run in front of the ref to make sure that a timeout is called. He didn't do it in that instance, so I blame him there as well. The Tyrese Maxey, when he falls, Nick Nurse, that is when I do see him adamantly calling for a timeout, but he has to be more demonstrative in calling that timeout. Like, he should have been calling it before Maxey even falls. He should have been running on the court calling timeout before Maxey even calls. We know that they've never given a tech for that, right? For adamantly making sure like the ref sees you calling that timeout. They don't give a tech for that if you run onto the court, because you're not running in the middle of the play. You're running to try to get the ref's attention. And that is perfectly fine, right? So I do blame Nick Nurse for not calling a timeout and not being fully committed to calling timeout when he had the opportunities to, except for on that second timeout. Also, another person to blame, Kyle Lowry. You are the veteran on this team. This is why the Sixers brought you here, because you are supposed to make heady decisions in moments like this. You are supposed to have the cool head to be like, okay, well, I've been in these situations before. You are a champion. You understand what it is. You and Nick Batum are supposed to be those people, right? Once you notice that it's going to be really difficult to get Tyrese Maxey the ball on the inbound, you as the veteran have to call a timeout there and be like, all right, let's make it easier on ourselves. Let's get organized. Let's run a good play or a good set here so we can make sure that we're able to inbound the ball. He never does it. And it's like, well, then why are you here? Like, and I don't want to bash Kyle Lowry. A lot last night, got a couple offensive rebounds, key offensive rebounds, played great defense, was good on offense. I don't want to bash Kyle Lowry. But in that moment, that was just a huge like mess up or mental lapse. Also, Tyrese Maxey, and y'all know I love Reese, but he just had a mental lapse down the stretch of that, well, in that little, whatever you want to call it, right? So, yes, he's getting his jersey grabbed, but you can make an argument that they're not going to call that in real time, right? It's like ticky-tack, real time, whatever, depending on, except for how the game was going, whatever. You have to be strong with the ball, knowing that you're about to get it, instead of he tries to like sell the call when the ball is inbound instead of just fully grabbing the ball and making sure he has control of it. So that's one thing I ding him for. Then he gets the ball back, he falls. And instead of in that moment, he is supposed to be the one to call the timeout. Like, you know you're in a bad spot. Call a timeout there. You know y'all have one. Instead, I don't know if he forgot. I don't know if he didn't know that he didn't have one. He tries to force a pass to Kyle Lowry. It ends up getting stolen, leads to the DiVincenzo 3. And it's these mental lapses that the Sixers just continuously have in these big spots throughout the playoffs, throughout the years, where you're like, why are they just not mentally tough? Why do they think it's these possessions where they can just slack off, right? Now, I don't know if because it was such a frantic play. Maxey very well could have thought they did not have a timeout the way Kyle Lowry was reacting, trying to get the ball in. That could be a possibility. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it was a mistake. Even Tyrese Maxey owned up to it. And that's all you want. Another thing that just went terribly wrong, that the Sixers, I cannot believe it happened, the Hartenstein offensive rebound. How? I don't understand how you know in this moment they need a rebound. If that shot goes in, it goes in, whatever. But you know at worst, you box everybody out that you can to make sure that you can secure the the defensive rebound. The only person that boxes out on that play is Tobias Harris, and he boxed out OG Anunoby, and it was a clean, great block out from Tobias. But if you look around, Kyle Lowry's in the corner on Jalen Brunson. Tyrese Maxey is still on the floor. Joel Embiid tags Josh Hart, which is okay. That's acceptable. Like, I get it. You get a little tag when you feel a body, right? Nico Batum is supposed to be the one to rotate over to Hartenstein, who is sprinting down the middle of the court to get this offensive rebound. Nicholas Batum is just walking, expecting the ball to just fall to him. And it's like I said, why do y'all think these are the instances where y'all can just be like, okay, we can relax here? No. If anything, this is supposed to be when your antennas are most up and you're supposed to be most detailed into the game. You're supposed to have great situational awareness. Like, okay, we need a rebound here. It's just like constant time after time after time, the Sixers lack situational awareness. It has now lost them 2 games in the playoff series that they should be winning. They are clearly the better team in this series, and they are beating themselves.